her background is nerd.
Darren should have gone to school here instead of Cutter, because you are a devil. I can tell you that right now.
She rolls in like she's a Hollywood movie star now. She just she's just here for the camera.
I guess I tooted.
No hard-hitting questions here.
Yeah,
Shall we talk about my one-sentence resignation?
Well, it's time for the next edition of Spilling the Tea in Studio D. Again, the road show continues. And
I'm liking our arrangements today.
Absolutely.
We got the comfy seats.
Yeah, beautiful building here in Benton, Haskell Harmony Grove. I'm still getting used to that. I grew up back in the day when they were Benton Harmony Grove, but beautiful building. I mean,
it's awesome.
And it's not that old, I don't think.
No, I believe they finished the new high school about 3 years ago. Okay. I think in the middle of the 2022-23 school year they moved in.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah, and by the way, this is Matt McBride. He's I guess you're going to roll into a new position this next school year, and for all intents and purposes, I guess you'll be leading the alternative school, or what is it that Todd calls it these days?
Yeah, so I'm going to be replacing Kim Brown in the Hub program.
Right.
Yep.
And, you already know this, but that's designed for 11th and 12th graders.
Sure.
That's, for whatever reason are behind in credits, or they have a job and they need to have more of a hybrid type schedule. So, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it is. And when that that particular program rolled out, I thought, man, where's this been all of our life? Because, working in high school, junior high, I mean, kids can get to a point to where, they just, not in love with school.
No doubt.
And this is a great program to plug them into.
Yeah, I was actually talking with someone the other day about this. The idea for schools is to remove barriers.
Right.
And if we're not careful, sometimes we can kind of create our own barriers.
Right.
And a lot of our students here, they have really good jobs all summer long.
Yeah.
And then here comes August 15th, and they're like, I was getting 40 hours at this amount of pay, and this program, provides that.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
So,
Well,
it's rewarding too, because you see kids that may not have finished school, and it's just a huge impact. The importance of that
and in today's world, a lot of the kids are the family's kind of counting on that income to some degree.
And some are, and every school has a different type of demographic, and I think for Mr. Bennett, our superintendent, the goal is to, basically delete dropouts.
Right.
And so this program, helps keep our dropout rate to the minimum.
Yep.
Well, let's go back and kind of start from here. Tell us about you, where you're from, and then your journey to where led you to where you're at today.
Well, so I grew up in Mineral Springs.
Okay.
My mom was a kindergarten teacher down there for nearly 30 years.
Wow.
Right.
Went to college at Henderson.
Okay.
And, was there I was in and out. I was there for 4 years, and I went into coaching football right away. I was at Hermitage School District.
Okay, gotcha.
Very much South Arkansas.
Yeah.
Was down there for 2 years. My second year there, I was the head football coach. I was 23 years old.
Oh,
and
wow.
I wasn't any more ready for that than the man on the moon. But
Sure.
I was a head football coach there for 1 year, and then I had the most fantastic student teaching experience with Jay Turley at Murfreesboro.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, we know Jay. Yeah, he was at Lakeside.
Yep, phenomenal coach and phenomenal human being. But he had gotten the head coaching job at Hope.
Okay.
And so he was able to hire a couple assistants, and he brought me in from Hermitage, and I was with him for 5 awesome years there. And then went right down the road to Spring Hill.
Okay.
And I was the head football coach, athletic director there for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And during all this time, I was meeting my wife, and when I met her, she was an LPN, then she became an RN, and then she had finished her nurse practitioner.
Wow.
And we also had a 6-month-old baby at the time.
Okay.
So with all these life changes going on,
Sure.
she really needed to live somewhere with a bigger population.
Right.
And so I'd gotten to know Coach Brad Harris over at Benton. And then, ironically enough, Coach Turley's college roommate was the athletic director at Benton.
Oh,
so
wow.
that really helped kind of get me in over there. So went over there and was the head junior high football coach for 4 years, and then transitioned to an assistant principal there.
Okay.
And then 2 years ago, I came here and was working in the special ed and math department for the last 2 years before going into the hub position.
Right. So how big of an influence did your mom's connection to education play in you choosing it?
Yeah, so my mom was a elementary teacher. My grandmother was a high school English teacher.
Oh, wow.
So I'm kind of a third generation,
Sure.
I guess. But I really just wanted to be like the coaches that coached me, you know.
Right.
So
yeah.
I went into coaching. Now, the biggest influence my mom had in those terms was she was convinced that if I was to get a health and PE degree, that I would never get a job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So she encouraged me to get other certifications, and I'm certified in math. I'm certified in middle school wheel, they used to call it.
Right.
That's great.
All the history stuff. So
yeah.
my teaching license is about this long.
Yeah, that's great.
And that really did
Yeah.
did kind of open up some doors for me that wouldn't have been here. In fact, when I came here, they really needed someone certified in special ed.
Yeah.
But I was math certified.
Gotcha.
So they made that work, and then I went through the Resource Academy at Henderson and added special education to my license as well.
Well, that's going to help you so much with the hub,
Yeah.
with this spot, because you're going to be able to help all those kids in a lot of different areas.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really
Yeah,
good.
I think the hub is going to be my background in special ed is going to help for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
As an administrator, it's going to help. But I really think the coaching is probably going to be the most helpful with it because I'm going to be having to establish some relationships with these, with these students and kind of not drag them, but get them across the stage, you know. And so I think that's going to be important.
Yeah. In the first 4 years, of my career, I never was a head coach, was an assistant coach. But you're right; it gives you an opportunity to see kids in a different light.
Right.
And I don't think the hub's much different from that because, like you're saying, at the end of the day, the goal is the same. It is to get them across that stage and prepare them for what's next.
Yes, sir.
And that could be a bazillion things, you know. And we've been involved in, with alternative ed now, I guess, to a large degree for, I don't know what, 3 years, 4 years.
Thanks. Yeah.
And, man, it's just incredible, to look at each district and how they use that to reach their kids. And, I mean, it could be something, it could be a young lady that, let's just say, gets pregnant or whatever, and that gives her an avenue to, to go to school, stay focused, and stay on track. Again, lots of kids, and here's the thing. I think ALE, that's not what we call it these days. I can't remember.
Non-traditional.
Non-traditional. There we go. That's it.
Yeah,
Sounds better.
I had to think about it.
But a lot of people think that these are the kids that get in trouble all the time. But that's not the case. I mean, I can tell you we've had kids that realistically would be fighting for that valedictorian seat but they get to a point, maybe they get uninterested for whatever the reason might be. And I think by providing them a platform to meet their needs has been so beneficial.
Yeah. So the last 2 years working with seniors, we just have a lot of students that they go into their senior year and they are ready to maybe not be an adult, but they are ready to do adult things like get a job and start working towards a house or an apartment or whatever it may be. And then, like we were saying before we started filming, sometimes they work all summer.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm used to making, pretty darn good money all summer. And now here comes August and I have to go to school and my pay is cut down into almost nothing. So this program allows them to still go out and work. And a lot of what they're doing, right now is the career that they plan to pursue after high school. So it just gives them a head start.
Yeah. Well, and you'll have plenty of time to build those relationships because you're going to be with those kids pretty much, off and on all day.
That's right.
And so that'll be a really great opportunity for you to.
And I've also been with a lot of them the last 2 years, because what I was doing here in terms of the math was I was a traveling teacher. I was pushing in, as an not an inclusionist, but as a co-teacher basically.
Right.
And so I've gotten to know a lot of the kids here, and some of those will be in our program this fall.
That's really good.
And I think the comparison you made, to the coaching and getting to know kids, at a different angle, and having, that's the one thing I've always said about coaching. I think sometimes it gets overlooked, the importance. And what I mean by that, coaching, I think about it this way. When you're coaching somebody, let's just say a specific skill, what do? You teach it till they get it, and so I think, obviously with the non-traditional kids, the numbers are smaller, so you have the opportunity to spend more time
That's
with
right.
them.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, how many years have you been doing it now total?
This is I just finished year 16.
Okay. Okay. I got you.
So young.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Candy, we say
We
this
can say that now. But
I know everybody watching the podcast gets tired of hearing this, but we actually student taught together.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Absolutely. And of course,
but
my hair.
he is a lot older than me.
Okay.
Yeah, I am older, but when we started, I had dark hair.
I shouldn't
Yeah.
say that. I should be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
the same age as Darren. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dang, she looks
Yeah.
good for
Yeah.
50 what? 7,
Yeah,
58?
yeah. So, but anyway, but the craziest thing is I've hired her twice now in my career. So,
Smartest thing he's
yeah,
ever done.
yeah.
Best decision
Absolutely.
of your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
That's two decisions.
That's best
Yeah.
2 decisions of his
Yeah,
life.
we worked together at Lakeside.
Okay.
I was an administrator. Started as assistant middle school principal, became principal there, then at the high school, and then I hired her at Fountain Lake to come over and be the high school assistant, and then at the co-op. So, but yeah,
Pretty awesome.
some folks never learn. I'm
Yeah.
one of those guys.
Or just a package deal.
Well, I just keep playing the percentages, and hoping one day she'll get it. I don't know.
Nope.
We're trying.
Yeah, so you're 29, but it gets here fast. I'm sitting here thinking,
Okay.
you're 16. Where was I in year 16?
yeah.
It's probably Lakeside, or had just gone to maybe to Benton, because I was there for a couple years for
Right.
facilitator.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how fast it
I know.
goes.
I know. It's almost like raising kids. The days can
Yes.
sometimes be long, but the
Yeah.
years just fly by.
Yes.
That's-
So
Yes.
you got a couple of kids,
Yes,
right?
sir. I got a 7-year-old, and she'll be in 2nd grade this
Okay.
fall, and then my other daughter, Kendall, she'll be 6 tomorrow.
Right,
So
right,
Kinsley's
yeah.
7 and Kendall's 6.
Yeah. So we both. I mean, lots of I guess. I don't know similarities. Yeah,
Mhm.
like we both are parents of only children. So my
Okay.
question is it true what they say about number 2?
Yeah. Whatever you've heard about number 2 is true.
Yeah. I just hear that number 2 is like, I mean, no fear.
Yeah, no, they.
Uh-huh.
Now I will say she's a little more observant, and she sort of lets big sis go in and
Yeah.
make the mistakes or find the fun, and then
Right.
she'll settle into that too.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
she doesn't really fit that mold as much, but they both present their own
Yeah.
different personalities from time to time.
And I've also heard that having one kid's one thing, but when number 2 comes, it's life changing as far as just routines and all of that.
Yeah, that is true. So with our first one, as I think anybody would say with their first child, it was like constantly. I got to watch her sleep.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
Is she breathing?
Yeah, and then when you get your second one, you're like, yeah, just put her in there. She'll be okay.
Yeah.
A
She'll
little
work.
more relaxed.
Yeah,
She'll
it
work
is.
through that,
Yeah,
right?
that's awesome.
And how old's the second one?
So she'll be 6 tomorrow.
Okay,
Yep,
wow.
She just graduated kindergarten.
Oh,
Aw,
okay,
so
that's
sweet.
awesome. Yeah.
What I love, I was talking to Matt before, but he's like so awesome. Former coach, and he was saying, are you sure you don't want to?
Yeah.
Like that? But he's kind of letting them find their own path, and the one loves the artsy, music stuff, and I think that's great. I think that's a great parents right there.
Yeah. So it was kind of. We didn't find out the gender with either one of our babies,
Aw.
so I was just convinced that the first one was going to be a boy without a doubt, and then the second one I kind of had different feelings. But when I was coaching, and especially when you're coaching at a bigger school like Benton, we would play JV games a lot of times on Monday nights. We did junior high JV on Tuesday. As the head junior high coach, I was obviously really busy on Thursday. I had a role with the high school on Friday night, so it was just football season, and it always had been that way, and and I loved it. But when my oldest one was probably 3, it was a Wednesday night, and I was tucking her into bed, which in football season was a lot of the time the only night I tucked her into bed.
Exactly.
And she looked at me and she said, "Daddy, are you going to spend the night at my house this week?"
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yeah. And they'd already kind of been using me sort of in a dean. It was. But they had already kind of been using me in a dean of students type role anyway over at Benton. And I was like, if the opportunity comes up, I need to transition. And not because I wanted out of football. I still love it and still miss it.
Right.
But neither one of them were ever going to take a snap,
Right.
And so.
Yeah.
And they were used to, I would leave before they woke up.
Yeah.
I was home when they were asleep.
Yeah.
My wife's job is very demanding, and she's
Right.
basically doing everything. And
Yeah.
and I loved it, and I still do, and I miss it. But the trade-off is I get a lot more time with them now.
Yeah, but don't lie. When August rolls around and you see them out there sweating out there, and you can go in your office and kick that air down a couple more degrees.
That's right. And I make sure to remind all my coaching buddies about that too.
That's right. That's exactly
you
right.
Go visit.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true. I mean, like I remember, when I was at Fountain Lake, assistant high school principal, and of course my daughter wanted to stay at Magnet. We let her choose, and it was hard. I mean, because there was, maybe 1-2 nights a week that I would get to eat dinner with them.
That's right.
So, it is tough. It is a tough decision.
Yeah, it really is.
And when I went to Fountain Lake, my son was second. I guess he was a rising third grader, you might say. But what I will say is, as busy as it got, wife would drop him off, right? And then he rode home with me most every day. So, I think about, and I wouldn't trade that time for anything. Just to say, hey, man, how was your day? And, what's this look like, that kind of thing. So, but
did y'all actually have conversations? Because mine don't even remember what they had for lunch.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'll say this: the older he got, the better he became with that. And of course, his love for music that's where he was introduced to it for me, because I have a radio background, and so the power of music to me is just one of those things. I wish I could tell you that I could play 7 instruments. I can't. I mean, I couldn't play.
I wish I could too.
I can play a CD.
Yeah.
That's about it. But anyway, like I said, it's one of those things that just those kinds of small things that we got to share that I look back on to think, man, what a great time that was for us.
Because we talked about that, regrets. You look back and it's like, you wish you would have spent more time. You know what I'm saying? And that played into my decision, a lot of the decision to take the Magnet Cove Middle School principal job, because I was there with my daughter. So she would be there at ball games with me. I could she would be in my office. So, it does matter. Because I'm kind of a workaholic, and Darren knows it's like a strength and a weakness. But a perfectionist, and you want to do things right. But at the end of the day, it's like, let's put the family first, and then this has got to come.
And that's the thing. You got to put making memories in there. You got to continuously push it toward the top, because it's hard not to get consumed in your work when you're working with young people. It really isn't.
Right.
I mean, because you've got your own kids. But again, when you're at school, these are your kids
These
too.
are your kids too.
Yep.
And you have to, it's tough,
So aside from your mom, you probably had a teacher or a coach that really impacted you in your career.
Yeah.
Who would that be?
So there was a guy that spent, probably 40 years at Mineral Springs by the name of Rick Hart. And he did about anything you could imagine. He was a bus driver. He was the Agri teacher, FFA sponsor. He coached us in golf and baseball, and I think he was a football coach before before we were playing football and stuff. But he was real instrumental, and kind of gave me a good example of kind of what I wanted to try to strive to be like. And it's funny because one of my high school classmates actually lives right down the road. 2 of us from Mineral Springs get transplanted into high school. But we talk about Coach Hart all the time. And as we've gotten older, those conversations have became more meaningful versus just the funny memories and things that we had. But now we look back on it, and we were very blessed to be around a lot of good teachers and coaches growing up. So.
Well, we talk about that a lot. When you get in the profession, people always tell you, hey, if you touch one kid, I mean, you've done miraculous thing. But, I mean, obviously, when you're in it as long as we've been in it, we've been blessed to see. I mean, we got kids that we had that are having kids and those kinds of things. And to Candace's credit, I mean, she's big into, if a kid needs tutoring, let's just say. She ran into a couple that we had at Fountain Lake and their situation. But anyway, long story short, tutored them. And I guess they both got their GEDs, right? So, awesome. and so, that's the thing. It's hard to let that go, I think.
Yeah.
It is hard, like, because you just, I don't know, I feel like you just have that, God's given you that gift to teach. It's like you got to share it with people,
absolutely.
And try to help others.
Well, and again, I graduated from Cutter Morning Star.
Okay.
And like I say, with, that's what school was to me. That's what school looked like. And then when I got into radio and got into, doing career days or red ribbon weeks at all these different school districts, I mean, it was at that point where I found out not every school in my mind it had what I had.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And so again, it gets back to, I mean, what's the best way to make a difference is to just jump in and get your hands dirty.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and but yeah, it's certainly a rewarding career. No doubt.
Yeah. And I've worked in, I guess, 5 districts, and now, kind of a transition, but I still feel like I'm here at Harmon Grove.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's just crazy how many people, like my wife and I went to the Main Event Pizza in Little Rock
right.
a year or so ago, and in that 1 2-hour window of time, I saw former players from all 4 schools I'd coached
Oh,
at.
wow.
Just
so
yeah.
cool.
it was just really unique situation to see that. And
Does it drive her crazy? Because my husband Scott will be like, "Good grief, we can't go
Yeah,
anywhere."
yeah.
Because I've been at 5 districts before
Yeah.
coming to the co-op, and you just
it's hard to go anywhere and not see somebody you've either
Sure.
worked
Oh,
with
yeah.
or
Oh,
coached
yeah.
or so.
And I still laugh because it's one of those things, you hear about this too, but like if you see a kid and or a parent or a former employee or whatever in Walmart, and it's like, what are you doing in here?
Yeah.
I ain't got to have toilet paper just like
Yeah.
the next guy, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's true.
So as far as subjects taught, what's been your favorite one, or is there a favorite? I guess would be the question.
So the most fun I've had was when I was at Benton. I taught PE. I was a co-teacher in the PE environment.
Oh, wow.
With Heidi
Yeah.
Cox, who's the softball coach
Sure.
at Benton. And we had so much fun because we would play with them and dodgeball. We didn't take any prisoners. That was a lot of fun. I love
Makes
that.
me think about Jim Ford.
Yeah.
We had Jim Ford, one of the co-op directors, on the podcast.
Yeah.
He said he was a 3rd grade teacher.
Yeah.
And what he say
They're
before
playing kickball.
they're playing
yeah.
kickball, before he knew it, he just plowed
Yep.
it and plowed the kid over.
A little girl.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jim, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
He's just a big corn-fed
tall.
dude.
Yeah.
And he said the minute he left his hand, he
He's
said,
like,
"Oh my
I'm gonna
God,
get fired.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna get fired." So
Yeah.
he said he goes over, and of course the girl's crying or whatever, and he gets her calmed down, and he said, "Well," he goes, "I'm glad you're okay, but sweetie, you're still out."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the competitor in him,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Coach Cox and I would reserve one of the pickleball courts. That was our court
Right.
for any challengers.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I loved doing that.
Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed the last 2 years being here because getting back into the math.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I hadn't used it in 12, 13
Sure.
years,
Right,
and then
yeah.
just jumping back in. I was really blessed to be with a lot of really, really good co-teachers who
Right.
were very patient with me.
Yes.
Would teach me first, and then we'd teach the kids a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've enjoyed getting back into that, and I think that's going to be really helpful in the hub too.
Oh,
that
yeah.
It will.
that my math has been refreshed.
Sure.
And I'm going to be able to
Yeah.
help my kids better.
Yeah, well, even tutor, and I'd have to be like, go tutor
Yeah.
college algebra. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, give me a second.
Yep.
You have an
Yeah.
example, and then so they can
Yeah.
pop an example up because it was computer, it was
Mhm.
online, and I'm like, okay, yeah, here I can show you how to do it. But
Yeah.
I mean, like you forget.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't use
Well, and the thing about that too is, that's one of those things that you always hear that, especially at the high school level. I'm never going to use this stuff.
Well,
it. Yeah.
I came up with something, and I don't know if I made this up or if I've heard it somewhere else, but we had a kid in an algebra class basically say that one day. He was like, I don't know why, I'm never going to use this.
Right.
And he's one of our better football players here at Harmon
yeah.
Grove. And I said, well, let me ask you a question. Do y'all ever go in that weight room down there and lay on a bench and just start lifting weights? And he's like, well, yeah. And I was like, what about going and standing up and putting a bunch of weight on your back and like squatting down and going right back up?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we do that. I was like, why do y'all do that?
Yeah.
I've never seen a football player lay on their back and lift somebody
Yeah.
or put somebody on their back and start going up and down.
Yeah.
I was like, why do y'all do that? He's like, well, to get stronger.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's how math is. We're strengthening our brain
Right.
to solve real world problems just in a different fashion.
I love
Absolutely.
this.
Yeah.
Like I need to take this
Yeah.
in the podcast.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mhm. So
That
and
is
I
great.
don't know if that really stuck or not,
Yeah.
but that was just my comeback to it because
Mm-hmm.
no, we're not always going to be using Pythagorean theorem every day.
Sure.
But
Right.
Yeah.
solving challenging situations
Yes.
are something that,
Yeah.
I mean, most likely high school is the easiest time of your life.
Oh yeah.
And so being able to
I
stick with it and
love
solve
that,
stuff.
where you made
Yeah.
the analogy of strengthening your brain,
Mhm.
because that makes
Yeah.
so much sense. Because I mean, I had kids forever, and I would just say, okay, this is just helping you
Yeah.
logically think through things. Like you may not ever use Pythagorean theorem or the quadratic formula.
Well, then I told him that science has proven that solving math equations strengthens all this stuff in your brain. I don't know if that part is true or not,
right.
but he believed it.
Yeah.
So,
don't want to watch this back.
Yeah.
Well,
no, he won't.
I love it.
But you know, that's the thing. I mean, we grew up even in the non-Google era.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you know, back then it was hard to do that. But what a challenge it is today for kids to rely, you know, not only on the internet, but their phones or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got literally all the answers on that phone.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know, in order to kind of backtrack that and teach them the process, man, that's so important.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
I'm going to totally use that analogy from now on.
Yeah. So, but you know, what are you going to do? You know, if you're working a cash register somewhere and the power goes out,
that's right,
and you don't have a button, you know, to hit the selected item, or you can scan it.
Yep.
You know, so, but yeah. Wow. So, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing, you think?
Well, if I was quite a bit better, I'd be on the PGA Tour, but then we'll rule that one out. You know, I love to be outside. I'm an outdoors guy. I love to hunt, fish, play golf.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be something outside. I don't know exactly what that would be.
Right.
But yeah. Something outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your retirement.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. I might go mow some greens.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
do have a friend that said he's going to retire and be like, he lives in the village.
Yeah.
And like, hey, I'll just take care of your golf course.
Yeah.
For me.
No
I was
doubt.
like, that'd be awesome.
I could do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you, when I retire, my butt will be planted on that orange tractor I got.
Yeah.
And just creating things to tear up.
Yeah.
Even if it's moving a pile of dirt from here to there.
Yep.
People they can't appreciate tractor therapy until they've done
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
You would
That's
not
awesome.
want me driving a tractor.
No, I would not.
It would be dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
It would be really bad.
Yeah. But you probably have at some point.
No.
Cutting
Just
hay.
a truck. I
Oh,
only
okay.
drove my dad. I would
Okay.
drive the truck. And
Okay.
they would put the hay in
There
the
you go.
truck.
Okay.
I could
Yeah.
drive the truck.
Because it's
Now-
straight, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I did learn how to back the boat off the trailer
Right.
and put the boat on the trailer because my
Yeah.
husband said, I can't do both anymore, so
There you
you're
go.
going to have
Right.
to choose. And I'm like, well, I can't back a trailer. So I learned how to drive the boat off the trailer, on the trailer.
Yeah.
So.
But even,
Awesome.
I mean, I'm not, you know, I can back a trailer, but even, you know, like
Can't.
backing a boat or whatever, if the ramp's full, man, I'm telling you what, I
Yeah.
pull out sweat.
We do not I go and idle because I'm like, if
Yeah.
the ramp's full,
Yeah.
because it is.
I mean,
or
those
if it's
people are
windy,
waiting on you.
Yeah, and it's
so-
nerve-wracking because some are really good at backing the boat and trailer up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you have the guy like I saw on Facebook last week. I don't know how it happened, but he put in Lake Hamilton somewhere,
Yeah.
and it was the next frame was them pulling his truck out of the water. So I don't know if he just left it,
Gosh.
you know,
Yeah.
put it out of gear or what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
That's funny that we're talking about this. My last time that I drove a bus.
Right.
So my last year coaching, I coached football obviously in the fall, and I was a track coach in the spring. So we go to our conference track meet, and the other track coach and I were coming back at the same time.
Yeah.
And he was backing the bus in.
Yeah.
And he did it first try. I watched him do
Right.
it. Well, I go to back in, and as soon as I have to put it forward and go back and forth a couple times, I know he's gonna. When I get off the bus, he's gonna be messing with me about, oh, you couldn't do it the first time. And I was expecting him to kind of, be talking a little noise.
Yeah.
But when I got off the bus, he was on the phone. And he was talking to our transportation director. He's like, man, I'm sorry, but I just knocked the mirror off of bus 17 or whatever. And I was like, nope, he's not going to be bad-mouthing me about having to back up, go forward a couple times.
Yeah.
He can't say a word.
Well, and that's the weird thing, obviously, when you go through your training to drive a bus, they're like, well, you don't really need to back it up unless you, of course you've got to from time to time.
Every time you have to. We both have driven buses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every route, every sub-route, you're
Yeah.
backing up somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hated it.
I don't know if you ever had the pleasure of driving a standard bus.
No.
I mean, and like I said, when I was at Jessieville, when I started out, one of the sub buses on a sub route, kind of thing. I didn't have a full-time route, so I'd fill in like every coach usually does. But I'm telling you, every time you stopped and put your foot on the clutch and went to take off, that thing sounded like a shotgun backfiring, And I was just like, and it was cold, and you have to start it about every third stop. And, But, hey, made me appreciate that automatic.
That's right.
Yes, it did.
It was an automatic, but I had the pleasure of driving one July.
Oh.
I was coaching at Hope High School, and we played in like a National Select 7-on-7 tournament in Hoover, Alabama.
Oh, wow.
And this was not, we looked into the charter buses and we took the Yellow Dog.
Oh, yeah.
When we got our speed up and the windows were down, that's when we turned the air conditioner on, you know. And we drove all the way to Hoover, spent 2 nights, I guess, there.
Wow.
Maybe 3, and then back.
Wow.
I didn't want to see a school bus for a while after that.
No, I can't imagine.
That was a long trip.
Yeah, July on a Yellow Dog rolling down the highway.
I know. I can remember getting on those routes in the afternoons in August. You know, school starts, and I mean, just get back, and you're literally all of your clothes are soaked.
Yep. And they got that little fan up there.
Yeah, like that's doing anything.
Yeah, it's not
What's
doing
the
anything.
point?
That really just blocks out the noise more than anything else.
Exactly. Or in the cold, you could spin it around and maybe help with the defrost.
Yeah, that's it.
But, it's not
God.
cooling anything down.
No, sir.
So obviously, you know, been in it as long as you have. Let's talk embarrassing moments. Think of an embarrassing moment you could share with us that's happened within your career here.
Well, embarrassing and also probably, at least I hope, outside of my character a little bit. I got a unsportsmanlike penalty in a football game.
Okay.
And I've only gotten 2.
Right.
And I coached for 13 years. But this particular one, well, the referee was wrong, but I was out of line. And
Still sticking to it today. Yeah.
And after the game, get the kids out. I'm walking out of the coach's office, and I see my grandparents.
Oh.
They have attended. That's the only game they ever went to.
Oh,
and
wow.
That was like
no.
So that was a little bit less than desirable there.
I'm mad.
I know. So there was that, and of course, I stick my foot in my mouth all the time. That's what I specialize in. So there's plenty of those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that one I'm not real proud of.
Yeah. So what
you learn from
all
learn from our.
So you know, the thing is you know, to me, because we've all been there.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you work with kids, in front of kids, something's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
And they're real quick to call you out.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And I fell one time, and the kids came and checked on me, and then they laughed. And I'm like, hey, as long as you check on me first and then laugh, that's okay.
That happened to me too.
Yeah. I think we've all done that, and like you say, it's how you respond to stuff. And, you know, and I talk about this a lot, but I mean, you know, one of the key things is like taking the work you do super serious, but you can't take yourself serious. That's right. Know, because the minute you do, stuff like that happens. You know, and
you got to just laugh at yourself and go on, because you can't change it. There's nothing you can do to change it.
I can remember one time at Jesseville, we were on. Back then, they had a morning break, so they had a canteen. They could go get all these non-nutritional sodas, candy bars, whatever. And I was walking across doing duty, and of course, Jesseville, of course, every other truck's got a trailer hitch that big around.
I already know.
And I had my shorts on, you know, because I'd came out of PE, so I go walking, and bam, hit my shin. Oh, my gosh. And like I said, a couple of the kids saw it, and they go, are you okay? And then the minute they knew I was, man, they just busted out laughing. As my dad would say, it hurt so bad I couldn't cuss.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, it hurt. Put a big old gash in there. So,
Yeah.
But,
Ooh.
So, you know, going down the road for you, what's the end game for you?
You know, I don't know. So when I set out into the education, what I thought I was going to be when I was in college, I was like, I want to be a baseball coach and an offensive coordinator.
Right.
I've coached 0 innings of baseball.
Yeah.
Other than my student teaching.
Right.
But, and so, you know, athletics-wise, football was kind of always where I was at. And I had aspirations of being a big school head coach was what my aspirations are. Even coming to Benton, like I left a smaller school, a 2A school, as a head coach to go be a head junior high coach at Benton. But even with that move, I still thought, well, you know, I'll get a chance to work with another really good program. I think Brad Harris is the best football coach in Arkansas.
Sure.
That's my opinion of it, and I don't know that anybody can change that.
Solid guy.
Just as far as how he runs his program and just how committed he is to it.
Sure.
And that was a blessing to learn from him and see some of that. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know that I can be him.
Right.
If I can commit the way that he does. Yeah. At least not with this young family that I've got, you know, because my girls were 16 months apart.
Yeah.
And so originally, I would say up until about 5 or 6 years ago, that was my goal, was I was going to be a head coach at the biggest possible school, at the highest level possible. And then I go into administration, and of course that leads you to thinking about other things. But But right now, I think my goal is to be the best husband and father I can be.
Oh, yeah.
And then where education takes me from there,
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
We talk about this all the time. I just feel like God puts us in certain places for certain people.
That's right.
And certain
I believe
adults
that
and
100%.
kids. So,
Oh,
I'm just saying where your path is right now, then there's no doubt you're there for certain kids, certain adults.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm not trying to discourage anybody from having goals and dreams.
Yeah.
But my record or my history has shown me that whatever I think I'm going to do next anyway doesn't happen.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm best to just sit back and listen
Exactly.
and figure out what he has planned for me.
Yep.
Well, and that, looking back on mine, like I say, in my mind, I was going to be this big radio person or whatever. But again, being put in the right place, right time kind of thing. Then I thought, well, these coaches that I had made such an impact, that's the road I'm going to take. And I only taught and coached for 4 years. And then admin came calling, and I thought, man, what an incredible opportunity, But each step, obviously, God's had His hand in it, and it's one of those things. I tell people this all the time: if you'll just keep your head down and work hard, good things are going to happen.
That's right.
And God's going to put you where you need to be.
That's right. Yep.
But I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes it's human nature to get impatient.
It is.
And think this has got to happen today or whatever. And I'm sure you've had them. Even opportunities you thought you were perfect for and you didn't get it.
Yep.
You look back on and go, oh, thank God that didn't happen.
Or things that you did get,
Right.
and then you're like, well, okay, maybe this isn't the time for this. Or,
Right.
Oh yeah.
So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's he is greater than I, so I don't have.
That's
so
right.
true.
I do think you should plan and have goals
Sure.
and things like that,
Right.
but at the same time,
Absolutely.
you can't just
Yep.
put all your eggs in that basket because
Right.
his plan is going to be what we follow anyway.
So what's the best thing about being a girl dad?
Man,
I know you're early in the state.
yeah.
but-
So I've learned a lot. I can put a pretty mean ponytail together.
Yeah.
But no, they're just different than little boys. Boys are, I got a nephew also, and he's rough and tough, and my kids, they like to wrestle a little bit, but they'd rather snuggle,
Right. Oh, yeah.
So just kind of watching how they love me back too,
Oh, yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
Have you had to have makeup on yet?
of course.
Yeah.
My toenails might be painted right now.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see them.
I'm like,
Yeah.
if you have it, you will.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think as a girl dad, probably one of the toughest things ever will be, of course, we have a son, is just the whole dating thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the old country song, be sitting on your porch cleaning your shotgun kind of thing.
Let's have that conversation in 10 years.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, yeah.
It'll be here quick.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
I know it. They talk to me about their crushes from time to time.
oh.
Well, no, they talk to each other and their mother about their crushes. They don't really let me in on all
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
You just get to eavesdrop
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah.
So musically, I talked about the love of music. We hop in your ride right now. What's going to be on your playlist?
Well, for years and years, it was sports talk radio. Now it's
Right.
K-Love every day, all
Gotcha.
day. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I'll play K-Love until somebody cuts me off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I feel guilty listening.
Yeah.
But
But I'm a big country music fan
Yeah.
too. I love Chris Stapleton, Luke Combs.
yeah.
But as far as in my vehicle, it's going to be pretty much set on
Yeah.
K-Love.
Well, and I was blessed to work in country music throughout the 90s.
Okay.
So I got in on the good stuff. My very first backstage experience with a band was Alabama and Pine Bluff, and a guy by the name of Clint Black.
Oh.
Was there, and so got to see all those guys, got to meet a lot of them, and it's interesting to see in my mind that country's kind of going back that way now. So it's been good. So
Cool.
there's no Machine Gun Kelly for sure in country music.
Oh.
So yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Some would say there should be though.
Yeah,
See?
but some don't know music either. So yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
country cover again. What's bringing him to the forefront? That country.
Yeah.
That's right. So I digress. But what's probably some of the best advice somebody ever gave you?
Oh man, that's a good one. Man, I've been very fortunate for real
Right,
to be
yeah.
around a lot of really good teachers and coaches that poured into me when they didn't necessarily have to.
Right.
And I don't know that this is like the best like philosophical advice I've ever
Right,
gotten, but I
yeah.
worked for a principal when I was at Hope named Sammy Bray, And his attitude was so like relaxed. He never seemed to get stressed out. Now I realize now that he was also in his last year.
Oh yeah.
And so he was close to retirement.
Sure.
So maybe that's why he wasn't so stressed out. But he said this to me one time. I never will forget it. I was all worked up about something.
Yeah.
He said, the bells are going to ring. We're going to feed them lunch, and the buses are going to run. Yeah. And so like that is the core of a day at school, right?
Sure.
So yes, there's days that are harder or more challenging, but I sometimes remind myself that the bells are going to ring, the buses are going to run, and then tomorrow is going to come. So I guess just I've carried that with me a long time.
Yeah, that's some great advice.
It's very good.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's kind of like, one time when I was in radio, one of my bosses told me, he said, because I was worked up about something, he said, "Man, can't eat you, can't kill you."
That's right.
Yeah.
And then he said, "And let me tell you, son, you're a big old boy." So
there
I
you go.
Like, okay then. So,
Yeah.
So with that said, maybe thinking about something, maybe some picture or grand illusion you had about education that now you're on the other side, that you can look back on and say, well, it sure didn't go down like I thought it would.
How much time you got? No, I think that I've been in it long enough now to where I've seen it change, over time. But and change can be a lot of things, from what we were testing, what their standardized test was, to kind of just all the different things. But no, education's an ever evolving, ever changing thing. So I guess nothing really surprises me anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Honestly,
that's
it
true.
really doesn't.
Yeah.
Now I might have had some, things that I thought they should have been this way, and turns out they're not that way at all.
Yeah.
But
no,
I mean, I think one of the biggest skills anyone in education can have is the ability to be flexible and change with the times, or change even with the change of schools. You can go 5 miles down the road, and you need to be able to adjust to that new culture.
Yeah. Well, and you've changed just like I have. I've worked in a handful of districts. The one true thing is kids are kids.
That's right. That's right.
And you're going to have great kids. You're going to have kids that try your nerves, and you're going to have kids that have high needs everywhere you go. I mean, in any district I've been in, we've had those kids.
Yep.
And like you say, I think being, the best that you can absolutely hope for is, as Candace said, being in front of the right kid at the right time.
That's right.
And fortunately, like I said, we've had that opportunity. Where we work now, we're a little less connected with kids.
Yeah.
But some of the favorite things that I like to do is like run down to a pre-K that we have there, down the street from the office. Yeah. And that's always awesome. Except I did learn my lesson this year. You don't want to be there on the very first day.
No, I don't think so.
Because when I walked in, there was one kid, went in to check on him and was just bawling, and grabbed a hold of my leg.
Yeah.
So I was patting him. And when I did that, I mean, it was just like chain reaction. They all started crying. And, and I said, well, I guess I've done my work. I'm out, right? So what's a piece of advice you would give to somebody that's considering education for a profession?
So I don't know. Let me think about that for a second. I would say to someone who's coming in, probably being able to be flexible, like we kind of talked about a minute ago, because I could give them advice. Like I tell this about having kids. Whatever you've heard about having kids, it's true.
That's right.
The good, the bad, whatever it may be. And so I would say just if you're going into it for the right reasons, and that's to be a life changer, to make an impact on young people. Yeah. I think the rest of it kind of takes care of itself.
Sure. Yeah.
There's some things I could say about, investing their money or starting to retire, that sort of stuff. But just from a deeper standpoint, I just think being able to be flexible and to want to be it sounds simple and it's not, but basically every situation you're in, you can either be part of the problem or part of the solution.
Sure.
And that would be my thing there.
And absolutely. And that's the thing. Go into it with your eyes wide open, looking for those opportunities to be a difference maker. And because you never know. I mean,
no, you don't.
I can remember one of the first times it happened to me when I was at Jessville. I had a kid that played ball and was a great kid, but then went through some stuff. And I was like, where I live, I was at the highway checking the mail, and I hear this truck lock up and come back, and I thought, oh gosh, that's one of the kids that I had to paddle or whatever. Yeah. But he pulls up and said, hey, I just wanted you to know, he said, number one, he said, thanks for not giving up on me. And number two, he said, I've joined the Marines and I'm fixing to make a difference in my life. And I was like, wow. I told my wife that day, and I'd only been in it probably 3 years. I said, man, that was such a cool experience. And then, from that point on, I could probably go back and just list tons of them,
Absolutely.
Several that you don't know.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. Lots that you don't know. It's kind of like your own kids sometimes, you have expectations for kids. You hold them to it. You get disappointed, but again, you don't give up on them.
Yeah.
So.
That's right.
So, if you're to win the lottery, are you going to stay in education or,
I got maybe not 22 more years, maybe just 12.
Well,
That's right. That's right.
That's I was like, we talked about this before we won the lottery. I'm like, I still want to do I don't know, something part-time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like education.
I might sub.
Yeah, see, I mean, I just feel like you have that need to give back a little bit.
Yeah. I laugh.
But I'm definitely taking a trip somewhere.
Well, I laugh at Candace because, we in T-drop right now, we're first year. And so, she was telling me, before Christmas, she's like, man, hey, we may ought to look at going, because we've got a plan of how long we think we're going to go. And she's like, man, I think,
more.
She said, I think, probably before Christmas, she's like, if you really look at it, if we go a couple more years, it financially, it'd probably be worth it.
Yeah.
She come the first day back from Christmas, she's like, bump that. She said, I'm retiring.
We're done.
I love that freedom. So
I'm like, it is. I mean, just think about it. And I mean, I will have to work part-time.
Sure.
I can't sit at home.
Right.
Right.
Every day.
Right.
I can't do it. I mean, I could do it for 3 weeks, and then I'm like, I got to do something.
I was reading a thing and hear the old people talk, but that was one of the things they talk about, that first phase of retirement. It's all good, but then when reality sets in and you don't have that human contact. And especially in this business, when you're used to seeing hundreds literally of people and kids and making decisions like this, and
it will be nice
to
not have. I would want to do something that's like no responsibility.
Right.
Let me come into the schools, tutor kids, and leave.
Yeah.
I don't have any responsibilities after.
And you don't want the alarm clock involved.
Do not have to. I can just do part-time. It'd just be so nice.
Well, and that's the thing too about the especially at the administrative level, you're making so many decisions, whether you realize it or not. When it used to hit me the hardest, probably still does to some degree, is when you finally sit down and take that first deep breath of the evening.
Yeah.
And the wife says, "What do you want for dinner?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't care."
And are y'all like that too? Because I'm like, I get home and I'm like, I don't care.
No.
Just decide everything.
Right.
Because I just, it's crazy.
That's one more decision I won't be making.
Yeah.
So.
You actually just caused a light bulb to go off in my head. I make so many decisions, like with work and stuff, especially in administration or being a head coach. You make decisions all day. We're actually going on a trip at the end of this week, and my cousin has planned out every little I mean, like the weather there, and then where we're going, the weather. And I'm like, thank you for doing I don't have to do anything. They've got the rental car taken care of. I mean, I'm literally just going to if I can get my family into that airplane, I'm done for the next week. And I'm excited about it.
Well, I tell you, I know you told me earlier before we got on here that you guys are going to Colorado, and my wife and I for the first time went last year. And like on July the 5th, I never will forget, we're on top of the Rocky Mountains up there, 42 degrees in July.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah, I was like,
I love it.
I do too.
And I'm hot-natured now. I'm like, I'm having to put on something, but it's beautiful out there.
I'm excited. It's my first time to go to Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Scott got what, altitude sickness
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was not fun, but we made it. I had to drive most of the time.
Yeah.
We went.
You were driving on top of the mountain?
Listen, we were in Colorado. We stayed there, but then we went to Yellowstone, and so I was a nervous wreck driving through Yellowstone because some of those places they don't have the rail, and it is like and I was like hugging over into the other lane of a car. I mean, it was just so stressful. So I was like, I was so we're gonna get you some medicine next time.
There you go.
Well, we appreciate the invite coming over, man.
Enjoyed it.
And I mean this honestly and sincerely. It's awesome to sit down and have conversations with people that are passionate about education.
Yes.
Because we get the great opportunity to sit down with new teachers from time to time.
Yeah.
And I mean that's probably one of the favorite things that we get to do in my mind today is teacher interns. We get to visit with them, beginning, middle, and end kind of thing, and to watch that. And this is what I tell them, and I don't mean it negatively, but I mean if you figure out that that's not what you need to do, I mean, don't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's definitely a heart profession. If your heart's not in it, I mean, you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, amen.
And that's for anything.
You're right. Yeah.
That's right.
And I'm one of the few people that will say I got into education for the money because I was working in radio. So that ought to tell you what I made in radio.
Gotcha. Yeah.
My very first contract in education, man, I was so happy. I signed that dude for $22,000.
Mine was 20,000.
Yeah. So
I was like, we are so old.
Yeah. So we are. But again, I mean, to me, it never has been about the money.
No,
I mean,
same here.
it really hadn't. And I think that's the thing. Obviously, you got to have a paycheck to survive.
Right.
But again, when God puts you where you're supposed to be, and you find that fit. Man, it's just incredible.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, any parting words before we get out of here?
Man, I just appreciate y'all for inviting me, and Mr. Bennett, our superintendent, for pushing me in this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I will say this: our assistant principal here is Benji White, and he was an administrator at Benton when I was there. He was also a football coach at Benton.
Yeah.
And the guy that always does the broadcasting for the Benton football games, he asked Mr. White, Coach White, if he would fill in one Friday.
Right.
Oh, I can't do it. I got this going on. You should ask Matt McBride.
Yeah.
So that led to me doing football broadcasting for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then when I got the email that asked if I would do it, I was like, this has got Benji's name written all over it. So I printed the email and I brought it to him. I was like, you did this, didn't you? He was like, man, I promise I didn't do it. That's why I asked her, who did this? And he said, Mr. Bennett had it.
Yeah. And like I say, though, the thing that's really cool about the position you're in, I think, your path has been so cool about the coaching, the teaching, and leading you where you are now. And that's the thing. Even as I go back to radio, everything that I've done, I've built on.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, you're at the right place at the right time. Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
I think so too.
And I always tell this. I like to tell people, look, you won't be the worst ever because there's always going to be a Candace in it.
That's right.
Always. Always. So, but anyway, well, again, thanks for having us. We appreciate it. And that will do it for this edition of Spilling the Tea in Studio D.